The stars you were chasing shine right deep inside you. When will you ever let it shine from within and cast off?
Hello and welcome back to Kingdom Reviews. I'm your host, Future Keybearer. Today we'll be taking a look at Kingdom Hearts 2.5 on the PS3. A natural follow-up after 1.5 featuring KH2, Birth by Sleep, and Coded.
Though, sadly, there isn't as much to talk about with 2.5. Other than the fact that it uses the final mix versions of KH2 and Birth by Sleep, there's not much different about these games. Sure, you got a 16:9 aspect ratio for KH2, and both games look more polished, most notably for me as Birth by Sleep's keyblades don't look as flat, but the only notable difference is that Birth by Sleep doesn't have a multiplayer in the Mirage Arena anymore.
To be fair, while multiplayer would have been a lot easier on consoles instead of the PSP, I personally don't have a problem with them scrapping it as opposed to having it and letting it die off in a few years, as multiplayer games are wont to do.
Oddly enough, the most interesting aspect of this collection is Coded. Much like with 358, instead of remaking this relatively unliked game for consoles, they just put together a cutscene theater to tell the story.
However, it made more sense with 358 because the story is what people did like about the game. Here, you're just giving people the stuff that they didn't like.
To their credit, though, they did clearly take some of the criticisms that the 358 cutscenes had into account with this. People wanted the Disney worlds to be featured, so now they're here. People didn't like how they would just fade to black right before a fight and then fade back in after, so they animated, albeit simple, fight scenes.
Personally, I also would have liked a better dubbing job, but whatever. But we're not done yet, folks, because a few years later they re-released this collection along with 1.5 for the PS4.
Don't worry, this isn't going to take that long. Alongside having 60 FPS, the load times on each of the games were cut down drastically. Most notably for the drive forms and summons in KH2, and the command styles and D-links in Birth by Sleep, so now activating them doesn't kill the pacing of the combat. Also, later down the line as a free update, they added a scene to the 358 cutscenes featuring more of the final fight between Roxas and Xion.
Would have been nice if they did that for all the in-game battles that they skipped, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
And they added a cutscene theater to KH1, as until now it was the only game in the collection that didn't already have one.
Not sure why it wasn't in the PS3 version to begin with, but whatever. Overall, 1.5 plus 2.5 is the best way to experience these amazing games. Tune in next time as we get some sleep.